Jess Coleman.
Afternoon. Okay, this is totally not fair that I have to follow somebody with an English accent. So you go from English to Texan. And that doesn't always translate really, really well. Okay, so we've got this huge room of people. And in this room, we're going to do a quick survey. So if you were a child of the 50s, please raise your hand. Okay, a bunch of us. If you were a child of the 60s, raise your hand. Say, we keep going, about the same. Child of the 70s, a bunch of those too. Okay, now we're going to have a few less. Child of the 80s. Oh, we have some. And I know we even have some children of the 90s in here, right? Okay, got some of those. Now, I venture to bet that every one of us, whether we were children in the 50s or whether we were children in the 90s, have one thing in common. And you're thinking, what in the world could 5 decades keep could one thing be in common for all of us? And that is, everyone in this room at some point watched Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner. Right? Every one of us. Now, think about the old Bugs Bunny cartoons. Do you remember how much Yosemite Sam and Daffy Duck wanted to get Bugs, right? Do you remember the cartoons where they would rig the piano or the xylophone, and then Bugs was supposed to come out, and he'd come out, and they had a bomb attached to it, and he would play, and he would pick up the xylophone, or he would do the piano, and dun 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 dun, and he hit the wrong one. And nothing would happen. And Yosemite Sam and Daffy, they're like, you stupid duck, you stupid rabbit, do it again. So he'd dun 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 dun, and he'd hit the wrong one. And then every time they would come rushing out, no, you stupid rabbit, and they'd push him aside, and they'd go dun 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 dun, they'd hit the right note, and what occurred? Explosion! Every single time. You'd think they'd learn. I rewatched that video recently, and Daffy Duck's, his beak falls off. It's hilarious. Or think about Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Because what would happen with them is Wile E. Coyote always had the plan, right? He was always going to get Roadrunner. And some way or another, Roadrunner never completely fell into the plan. And you remember that detonator thing that he was always ready to go down? And for some reason, it always, 100% of the time, went down while Wile E. Coyote was next to it. And what would occur? It would go down slowly. Boom! There was this huge explosion. You see, what was occurring in both of those cartoons was engagement is nothing more than meaningful contact or connection. Engagement was igniting impact, right? Engagement ignites impact. Last year, there was a DGE survey, and they asked all the DGEs coming in, what is the one thing you feel like you and your clubs need help with? The absolute number one answer was engagement. We see it over and over again. I'm in a DGE class right now, and what am I talking about? We are talking about engagement. So how do we engage? How do we get our clubs and our members ready to engage? So the first thing we have to do is we have to inspire them. We have to remind them, why in the world did they join this organization in the first place? And the incredible thing is we have this amazing story in this amazing vehicle called the Rotary Foundation, which lets us inspire people at all levels. Doesn't matter what level you're at. So last year, Rotary Club, the E-Club of Central Texas, which is a club of about 23 or 24 members. Catch this, they meet twice a month on Zoom. They have members in Arizona, they have members in South Texas, they have members in Austin, they have members in Africa. this incredibly exciting club of people that never get together decided they were going to fix a problem in Liberia, and they did a global grant where they made oxygen available for an area of Liberia that did not have oxygen therapy available. And today, 250,000 people have access to oxygen that did not have access a year ago. That's amazing. If you're having a tough pregnancy or delivery, you now have oxygen. If you're having a heart attack in that part of Liberia, you now have oxygen. Why? Because a group of 22 people on the computer decided they were going to do something to change their world. Or think about a number of districts in Texas are currently doing water projects in Cozumel, where they're going into Cozumel, they're converting huge concrete roofs, collecting water on them, putting them in cisterns. It goes in dirty water, it comes out clean water, and now kids that go to school no longer have to carry water bottles from home. The school district no longer has to get that water trucked in. That's saving that school district $2,500 US a year. $2,500 US a year to our school districts is nothing. $2,500 a year to a school in Cozumel, Mexico means something. And those kids have clean water because Rotarians in Central Texas and North Texas decided they're going to spend some money and they're going to send some people and they're going to create clean water. Or what about, this is an amazing story, the oldest club in my district is the Rotary Club of Sun City. And by oldest, I don't mean the longest, I mean the oldest. This is a club whose average age is just south of 110. 2 years ago, they decided that they needed to show support to their first responders. And so they are now hosting a first responder banquet every year where they bring every police officer and every fireman into a banquet hall. They feed them a prime rib dinner because the chief of police said, if you're going to do this, don't feed them rubber chicken. They get rubber chicken. Their president-elect at the time said, what about prime rib? He said, oh yeah, my guys don't get prime rib. So they have prime rib. They have a whole award ceremony where they hand out hundreds of dollars in gift cards to the local grocery store and the local sporting goods store. Do you think when those 400 officers walk away, they feel a little bit better about the city of Georgetown and about what they're doing as their job? They have impact. Just this last week, we were in our foundation seminar, and one of our members was talking about a peace poll that went up. And this peace poll, they had a ceremony and they explained what peace is. And at the end of the ceremony, a little boy came up and he said, you know what? Because of this and me hearing about peace, I'm going to forgive my family. What impact long-term will forgiveness have on that young man's life? Because Rotarians decided to do something as simple as put up a peace poll. You see, every one of those things have something in common. Every one of them is engagement, which is igniting to create impact. Every single one of them. And the other thing, how many of you have club members that say, I don't care about Africa, I don't care about India, I don't care about Mexico, I care about my community? 2 of those 4 examples were from your community. You see, we change the world, but the world is our homes as well. Because we engage to ignite impact. After we inspire them, we involve them. In my district, this is a very sad statistic, one we're not proud of. 51% of new members leave Rotary within 3 years. 51%. Why? They leave because they're not engaged, and when there's no engagement, there's no ignition, and when there's no ignition, there's no impact, and when there's no impact, they say, why am I coming eating chicken? They don't care. Members do not leave our organization if they have relationship and if they're creating meaningful impact. They don't leave. Members do not leave Rotary if they have relationship with the people around the table with them and if they're creating meaningful impact. So how do we do that? We have to have a connection plan. There's a bunch of membership chairs in here, public information chairs in here. What do? Public image chairs. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan to connect them. You have to have people in place to connect with those 1 to 3 year members. You have to go to them and say, why did you join Rotary? I joined Rotary because I was lonely. Had nothing to do with service. The service never entered my mind. I joined Rotary because I opened a business and it was me and two employees, and that was it. And I was lonely, and a guy walked in and invited me to a Rotary meeting, and he said I'd get to meet the banker and a lawyer and a guy on the school board. That's the reason I joined Rotary. So find out, why did they join? If it's somebody like me, get them involved in the socials that are happening after meetings in the evenings. Maybe it's somebody that came in and they're gung-ho about service. You have a service committee you can put them on. Maybe it's somebody that says, I just love kids. We have RILA, we have youth exchange, we have scholarships. Maybe it's a younger person, and they come in and said, I want to learn about leadership. We are a leadership organization. We have a place for everybody. Find a place to connect with them. And then remember when I said that mentor needs to connect with them? Then the mentor needs to reconnect with them. You don't just connect with them 6 weeks after they join and then you're done. You then connect 6 months later. And then you connect 6 months after that. And then you connect 6 months after that. You keep connecting. After we have inspired, after we have involved, then we have to instruct. We have to influence. You see, our members don't know what they don't know. We're the leaders. It is okay to set expectations on your club members. That is not a bad word, to set expectations on volunteers. Expectations will actually create culture. If you want a culture of service in your club, roll out that every member, we're expecting, we can't make you, we're not requiring, but we're expecting every single member to participate at least twice in a service project this year. Maybe it's fundraising. We're expecting you to be in our fundraiser. Maybe it's charitable giving. We expect you to give $100 or $300 or, God forbid, $500 a year to the foundation. It's an expectation, because once the leadership starts setting expectations, our members will follow us. People will not go out and make themselves uncomfortable, but if a leader leads them into something uncomfortable, they'll follow you. But it takes the leader to do it. So, we start off by inspiring, we then involve, and then, we involve, and then we instruct them, we influence them. What do we do after that? We invite them. Invite them, what do you mean? We invite them. What does inviting somebody have to do with anything? We've already done all these other things. They're already with us. They're already a part of it. So what are we inviting them to? We invite them to join this Rotary movement and follow our vision statements. What I've seen a lot of vision statements in my career, and I personally believe, maybe it's because I'm in love with Rotary, I personally believe it's the best one I've seen. Think about it this way, guys. Together we see a world where people unite, What's another word for unite? Engage. Together we see a world where people engage and take action. What is that taking action? It's igniting. Together we see a world where people engage and they ignite to create lasting what? Change. What is change? It's impact. So read it this way. Together we see a world where people engage and ignite to create lasting impact across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. And the last thing I'll say about that, and hopefully no one that created the vision statements in here, but Jeff Coleman thinks they got it wrong. That carries a lot of weight, I know. It says in the globe, and in our communities, in ourselves. That's backwards. Because guess what? When Jeff Coleman got engaged and he started changing, then he wanted to impact his community. And once he got the vision for impacting his community, he wanted to impact the world. So it should be that we want to change ourselves, because it's when you move from being that Rotary Club member to being that Rotarian, and that is something we talk about all the time, but we need to think about what does that mean. When we go from just, and I was that guy that just went to the club meetings for a long time. I was president and just went to the club meetings. We do that. But when we make that shift, at whatever point we make that shift, and we truly fall in love with this organization, is when things start to happen. That's when ignition occurs. And once ignition occurs is when the impact happens. So invite your members to follow this test and change the world, because that is what Rotarians do. We change the world at our local level, at the district level, at the national level, at the world level. We change the world. Please go out and get your members to engage, to ignite impact. Thank you.